that you're gonna look great. But if you wanna stay in shape, well, you better hit the GymWits.
That's right, man. Tell 'em.
Welcome to the GymWits podcast. I'm Ryan George.
I'm Justin Guild, a.k.a. ChefSonic.
And we are the GymWits. So, Justin, I know recently you made the change from heavy weightlifting back to more conditioning type of work.
Mm-hmm.
And now I hear that your diet's changing.
Yes.
It's a little bit against some of our own philosophies sometimes.
Well, yeah, I guess so. It could be, but I want to...
You're on a diet. It's not a lifestyle change, but you're actually...
Well, you can decide what you want to call it, whether you want to call it a diet or a lifestyle change or whatever it
I'm
is.
just messing with you, but you started to share the details, but I figured it'd make for an interesting topic. So what are the details of this diet? How did this come about?
Well, it's something that has been lingering for a while. Just the thought that I might not be as healthy as I could be. Remember, we recently did the podcast on health versus, fitness versus performance. That got me thinking. I think I had mentioned that my girlfriend had mentioned to me about, you can be fit, but you're not necessarily healthy. There's a lot of things that can be improved. And, of course, I'm getting back into now doing Muay Thai and more... conditioning type exercises. And I think it's just time for a change. Like I've, find myself getting tired. I need to guzzle energy drinks before a workout, almost times before I do rehearsals, just things. And I don't want that to be. I want to just feel better and just be healthier. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend suggested a diet that has been very effective for her, and it's called the Whole 30, right? The idea is
not looking good. It's got a name.
Whole 30 for 30.
Oh, it's got are there marketing materials too? Is there a product? You have to buy something?
No.
Supplements?
I'm sure there's books and stuff like that. But basically, here's the diet.
Okay.
If you want to call it that.
It's a diet.
I guess so. But then everything is a diet. Whatever you eat is your diet.
Yes. But as far as like the diet as a 4-letter word, it sounds like a diet.
I guess so. What it is no sugar, no added sugar. You can eat sugar in fruits. So you can eat fruits. No bread, gluten type stuff. No pasta. No grains. No rice. Quinoa, stuff like that. No legumes. Basically, nothing that is inflammatory. And there's a big list of foods that are widely... Well, they could still be healthy. Like, I still think certain beans and stuff are really healthy for you. There's a fairly big list of foods that are inflammatory for the gut, for the stomach, or the intestine, or whatever. And those are the foods that you avoid. So what I'm subsisting on is meats, vegetables, potatoes, root vegetables, nuts, stuff like that. No dairy as well. Mm-hmm. And the idea is there's no food limitations in how much you can eat. So you can eat however much you want to be satisfied. You're just avoiding the inflammatory foods. Mm-hmm. So I've for a long time known and felt that dairy is not great for our digestion. Right, I felt that as much as, and believe me, I love dairy, I love cheese, and I especially love ice cream. But I've always known that eating dairy wasn't, when I eat it, like I'm not lactose intolerant, but I feel better when I don't. Mm-hmm. I've always been that way. As far as bread and that stuff is concerned, I love bread, I love pasta, but I do notice when I eat it, I generally have more energy spikes. Like I could feel good and then I could get really tired. So these are things I'm trying to avoid. I want to have really eat real clean, have energy all the time, not have these sort of crashes. Mm-hmm. And it's only for 30 days. And Thanksgiving's coming up this month, in a week or so. And I'm just on Thanksgiving, I'm just going to eat whatever I eat. So I can have my pie or whatever it is. So that's that. What do you think?
I don't know.
You think I could do it? Does it sound like... there's nothing to buy. No, I'm sure there's books on it and stuff like that. The other... I love cooking. I love food. So I want to use this as an opportunity to be more creative with the food. I made something the other day, and it was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I took a butternut squash, and I roasted it just in the oven with a little bit of oil, and then afterwards I added some coconut milk to it into some seasoning, and I just sautéed it, and it was unreal. It was so delicious. And I'm getting creative with a lot of the foods I'm cooking, and it was really tough for the first day. I felt sick. I was like, literally almost going through certain types of food withdrawal because there was no sugar, there was no bread, there was no dairy. So all that stuff, it was leaving the body. So I felt like I was sick. My girlfriend forced me to drink tons of water, which I've been doing that too. That's another thing. Like I've probably been dehydrated, and I probably don't drink enough water, especially because I work out. So I've been really drinking a lot of water, now I've been drinking a lot of tea today and a lot of water. And so that's the idea, just to be healthier and to just see how it works.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you feel better and if it's making, I guess with any diet, and I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time with the diet thing.
I know,
but I think, I guess my first question is, what do you do after 30 days?
Okay, so after 30 days, you could choose to stick with it. You can cheat. You can go back to just living normally. You can do whatever you want. That's
so.
The whole
what's
point.
The purpose of going on this diet then? What's
to see how you feel for the 30 days. To see, are you going to lose some fat? Are you going to feel good? So it's sort of the litmus test. Do you feel good? Has it improved your quality of life? Do you feel healthier? Are things good? And if it has the real positive effects, you're going to want to stick with it.
Not necessarily. I think so. This is where it becomes an issue with the diet, and I guess maybe having a better longer term outlook. So, part of the issue with going on the diet is it's restrictive. It's severely restrictive. But you're just naturally, because of the restrictions, you make better choices.
Yes.
So you're just naturally, you should feel better, but you're also restricting yourself. And as you said, you kind of go through those withdrawal symptoms initially, and you do because you're making better choices. You're going to feel better. Your energy might be a little bit more stable. You're just going to feel good about doing it. There's just a kind of a psychological component to it
too.
So, but then you also because it's 30 days, you're kind of depriving yourself for 30 days. There's no way you're going to stick. I mean, most people, it's going to be really hard to stick with it.
I think
so then you're going to go off the wagon in 30 days.
Well, I do have my one cheat. I do on Thanksgiving. I can eat whatever I want.
But it's not going to lie. I mean, but I don't think that really will play too much into it. So I think just the problem is that if there's no kind of objective at the end, then you've done nothing in those 30 days. Even if, I don't see you sticking to this diet.
Well, so here's what I think my goal is going to be with it. That was depending on how I feel and the results that I have with it. I think that what I would eventually like to do is to do it a good amount of the time. So to really cut down the amount of dairy in my diet. So yes, I may go back to eating a little bit of bread and a little bit of dairy. I think for me that's something reasonable, but to cut down a large percentage of it. Yeah. That might be, for me, a reasonable goal after this is over. Hey, maybe I love it and I choose to stick with it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm keeping an open mind, and I'm going to see what it does. Yeah. I think that's really what I would like to do. I think a big thing is to get myself not reliant on bread, wheat, gluten, stuff like that, and dairy, and try to show myself that I can live without it.
Yeah.
And then once you live without it, you learn about other choices, other things that you can make. Yeah. It's also going to teach me a lot about lifestyle and just how you can, ways that you can live, ways that you force me to plan. Yeah. Stuff like that, things that I've always neglected. I've always been a last minute, I got to grab something and eat in my car. I know that's not healthy for me. It's just not good. So this will force me to not do that. And then, hey, maybe I'll go back and during the week, maybe I'll have dairy once a week. Maybe I'll eat a little bit of bread, but it'll be far less. And because I will have had this experience and know how to live with it, then I think it will just make me healthier in general.
Okay. Still skeptical.
Skeptical that I could stay on it, or skeptical... Yeah. So you think I'm going to cheat?
Yeah. No, I think you can be committed for the 30 days. I just don't know that. I don't see there being really a positive. Again, I don't see it being a long-term thing for you. You know, I think without any structure.
Well, that is the structure.
I mean, there's structure, but the structure for 30 days, then it's kind of like, I'll do whatever I want. You know, there's no goal towards like, be a little bit different if it's like, okay, you know, and I'm not a big fan of like cleansing diet, you know, cleanses. I don't think they really do anything. But the one benefit to like a cleanse is it's sometimes like hitting the reset button. So if you look at this diet, let's say, realistically, I can't see you avoiding all those foods. I can't see you understand.
I don't plan
but if it was your way of kind of saying, okay, I'm going to hit reset. And when after 30 days, you know, I'm going to switch to doing, you know, X, Y, and Z. You know, I've more.
But that's the plan.
But you don't know what X, Y, or Z.
But don't I need to figure that? But isn't that partially why I'm on this? I have 30 days to sort of figure that out.
I don't know. I guess, but I don't think that's going to work for you.
You don't think so?
No, I think because I think you need structure at the end, like a plan.
So what if I come up with a plan at the end?
I think you need to come up with a plan now.
But how? But what if it doesn't work for me?
Then it doesn't work for you. Then you can abandon it. But I just don't. I think if you leave it up to again, this is me talking from experience. If you leave it up to yourself, and you wait till the last minute, you know, it's not going to work. I think there needs some kind of structure
afterwards.
Yeah, and you need a plan for when you're done with this 30 days. That's the problem with most diets is they set you up for the extreme. Like, you know, right now with any extreme diet, the extreme part you're going to get results. You know, you're going to lose weight. You're going to probably feel better. You're going to have better confidence. You'll have energy. But
if I decide when I'm on it, I just want to stay on it. Or maybe the plan is to just stay on it and then allow myself a cheat day once a week.
Then good for you.
Maybe that's the plan.
Maybe that is the plan. But I just think that often they focus way more on that extreme portion, but not enough on the what do you do when you're done with the extreme portion? How do you make your life, you know, how do you modify it to fit your lifestyle? So if you don't have that plan in place, it's really easy to kind of wing it. Like right when you're done, let's say you do this diet and then you get to 30 days and you kind of have an idea, okay, I like the diet, I think I'm going to stick with it, and you kind of wing it. But maybe you allow yourself one cheat meal a week. That's going to very quickly snowball and okay, you have 2 cheat meals, then you're going to make, oh, well, I'm running late, I'll pick this up. And then all of a sudden you're back to making poor choices and the diet will be thrown out the window. So
what about this concept? What if the idea is that I just I do the diet when need. So I try to, I do the diet, then I go back to living however I lived before, and then when I feel like I'm in need, go back and do another 30 days. Is that not a wise decision?
No, I don't think so. Because I mean I don't know how again there's not a ton of there's some research on inflammation and how its diet affects it, but there's not a ton, and I'm not a dietitian, so I'm not going to be able to say like, yeah, you do this diet and it's going to work wonders for the body, and then you can go away from it and come back to it. But if your goal is kind of finding a nutrition program or eating strategies that work for you long term, this may or may not be it.
But I think for me that I have to do it in order to find out. I don't think it's reasonable to try to make a plan for afterwards. I think that the plan for afterwards needs to be made towards the end of it.
Okay, that's fair.
Right? Because right now I don't know how it's going to affect me. I don't know how much I'm 3 days in right now. I'm not really missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm sure I will. And remember, I do have my cheat day, like Thanksgiving. So it's going to make me realize that's why I think I have to go through with it. Maybe 2 weeks in, I'm saying, how much do I really crave ice cream or crave pizza?
Yeah.
And then realize that and say, okay, this is how much I crave it, or this is how often I crave it. And so I might say, okay, so I'm back on the diet. What I'll do is I'll modify this diet by maybe 1 or 2 days a week. I can have some, good quality bread in the morning.
Yeah.
Right, that'll be all right. So there's my modification. I have a little bit of bread in the morning, and then I stick with the diet the rest of the time. I have ice cream once a week. I have my pasta dinner 1 time a week, like stuff like that. I'll see how much am I really craving these foods, and how much. And then I think afterwards there's going to be a little bit of figuring out what works. Like how often can I get away with not eating ice cream that doesn't make me insane? How often can I get away with not eating, pasta that won't make me insane?
Okay.
Now, what do you think about the diet aspect of, it's a fairly high fat high protein, and lots of vegetables and fruits.
And what's it called again? If anyone wants to look this up, and I'll put it in the show notes.
The whole 30 for 30.
Okay. I mean,
The idea is of eating, basically eating foods that occur sort of in nature.
Yeah, which that's
Right, that nothing processed, right? Nothing really added to it. So, no sugar. Now, like that might be maybe when I get back off of it, say, okay, I can add a little bit of honey to something or a little bit. So, and I think that'll be part of the process of how to implement it long term. But that's basically what it is. What do you think of that as far as a diet and nutrition? Not diet in the sense of the marketing term, but just as what you eat.
I mean, it sounds pretty reasonable. I think it hits most of the important aspects of just a good nutrition program. I think it's something that I think as far as the anti-inflammation, it's something we'd want to talk to somebody who's got a little bit more expertise to give us their thoughts on that and on its usefulness for that purpose. And I think just in general, inflammation is something that we should talk about.
Sure.
As far as a diet, I mean, it seems to, again, it meets most of those requirements, So I think it doesn't sound that
of how
bad.
much you can eat.
Yeah.
You're supposed to eat a lot.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound too bad as far as the diet's concerned, but I'm not, again, as we've talked about before, I'm not an authority on it. So it's one of those things that we want to, it's a little bit harder for me to give most. I think, again, it is restrictive, and I think it's hard. It'll especially be hard for you to maintain that, stick to that diet completely. Yeah. So you'll require modifications on that. So I think it's just a matter of how much you can modify it where you still keep the essentials of the diet and the core without, kind of drifting too far away from the core principles from the diet.
So it's interesting. It's similar to, it's actually a little more restrictive, but it's similar to paleo diet.
Okay.
So paleo may allow a few more things. And are you aware that a lot of MMA athletes are using a very similar diet to this?
Okay, no, I didn't know.
Who is the food guru, the MMA food guru who's like now doing the nutrition for so many of the fighters?
What's his name? Oh,
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm forgetting his name right now.
He stresses this diet, very very similar to paleo. For the idea is to have long lasting energy, not to get tired, sort of to maximize your nutrition, to be clean.
Yeah.
So your thought on it is that the food itself, the nutrition itself, works, but for me, based on my lifestyle, you think it's going to be very hard to maintain.
It'll be hard to maintain. Yeah.
So that comes with what the modifications. Now I'm going into it. I know I'm not going to go without dairy for the rest of my life. I know I'm not going to go without pasta for the rest of my life. I understand that, but what I really want to do is limit it. A significant amount, because I know that, especially as I get older, dairy is not particularly great for me. Sugar, things like white bread, or not that I ever ate white bread, but I love pasta, and I know what that does.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, I had heard a radio show almost maybe within 8 months, almost a year ago, that talked about for adults that were overweight, very overweight, and some of them that even had heart problems, that this very similar diet to this was given to them. Now, that may be even less extreme, where maybe they could have a little bit of bread or a little bit of rice here or there. And there was 2 control groups. One was given this diet where basically they could eat as much fat, good fats, olive oil, fish, meat, good quality meat, stuff like that, lots of vegetables.
Yeah.
And then the second control group was low fat, but lots of bread, pasta, carbohydrates, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they found that in the first control group lost so much more weight. And not only that, but had the heart disease-related issues declined so much that it became unethical not to have the second control group join that diet as well. Yeah. And they also found that the second control group did not lose weight nearly as much. They gained weight.
Yeah.
And that their heart issues and, blood pressure, stuff like that, was affected very negatively.
Yeah. Okay.
So now, interestingly, we talked about diets, and diet has had almost a very negative connotation. Really, diet just means what you're eating, right?
Yeah.
Is this your diet? What's your diet? I think it became a marketing term over the years.
Yeah.
So it got me to thinking, what are some of the diets that you've been on? Have you had gone on diets over the years?
I've gone on,
even if they're minor.
Nothing that I probably when we were young, I went on Atkins or did something similar to that when we were younger.
Remember your results?
Probably lost weight. It was one of the things that's restrictive enough that you're going to lose. I think I'm thinking when we were like 17, 18.
Yep.
Doing that. I've gone on like things where I'm just eat tons of protein, just high protein. I think as far as like diets as we know them, not many. I mean, I've done dieting. I've done things where
that's more food restrictive.
I've done food restrictive stuff for like weight cutting, or if you want to bulk up, I might eat more, just eat more food. But I've never really been on a real diet. I think I told you before, like when
this?
Probably not right now. No, I think if I felt lack of energy, or if I felt lethargic or tired, or like physically something was wrong, I might do it to feel, if I felt my body was not agreeing with me, maybe.
How much dairy and sugar do you eat normally?
I mean, less sugar. I think I told you one of the things I did try to cut out is processed sugar. So I try to only, for the most part, outside of once a week or so, I have tried to get most of my sugar from like fruits and honey and from the source. Sometimes I'm better than others doing that. So I definitely try to do that. Dairy, I mean, I have milk with my coffee every day. I'd eat cheese, so I don't eat tons. I don't have tons of dairy, but I definitely don't.
Do you feel that it affects your energy or just anything?
I don't think so, but I mean, it's just part of my diet. So I think, I notice things that affect me energy wise is if I have lots of sugar, or I think sugar. That's the main thing that'll affect me energy wise. And just where I don't feel good if I'm not hydrated. I think the big thing, as you mentioned, like hydration, I think is the biggest thing for me. If I drink a lot of water, I feel better. It's better for digestion. My stomach's better. If I don't, then it's not.
So when you're cutting weight, or when you have to really try to slim down, what do you normally eat? Like what would I mean,
it depends on what stage, but it's very restrictive. I mean, mostly very lean meats.
Okay.
It's like chicken.
So you even try to avoid a lot of the fat.
I avoid fat. It's very, very lean meats. Whole grain. You'll have like brown rice, very little bit. Fruits. I'll have rice crackers as like a snack. Black coffee, spinach. So I try to keep a lot of leafy greens, but it's pretty limited. Yeah. It's just a matter of like you're just trying to lose in a very short period of time, so it's not pleasant and not fun.
Sure.
I don't look forward to it.
I remember
enjoy it, but
I did a similar diet when I had to cut weight in high school
for wrestling.
Right?
Yeah.
Basically, all I ate was white meat chicken, greens. I didn't even eat any carbohydrates. I don't know how I did it. So like a lot of eggs, white meat chicken, lean beef, vegetables.
Yeah.
And the pounds fell off, but it was not. I don't know how I functioned, because it's very hard for me to function without carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So, and that was part of the difficulty of the first day, because getting those carbs, out of my system really destroyed my world.
Yeah.
So, but I have been eating a lot of potatoes and sweet potatoes and some good fruits. So that's sort of my, those are my carbohydrates.
Yeah. Oh.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to lose.
We'll revisit this in a few weeks and see after 30 days where you are. So we'll kind of revisit this in 30 days, see where you are.
What do you think? Do you think I'm gonna lose weight?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll lose weight.
How much do you think I'm gonna lose?
How
many pounds do you think?
Say 6 pounds.
Okay. Hey, 6 pounds of fat. That's pretty solid. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll say 6.
Right.
That's my. I think where you'll be at. Right around there.
That sounds good.
Cool.
And you think I'm going to stick with it? Well, yeah, I know. Because when I have a goal, when I want to stick with something, if it's plotted out, I'm good at sticking with it. It's going to be very hard for me not to it would have to be some sort of emergency situation for me to go off of it. So I really plan on sticking with it. Thanksgiving will be my one cheat meal.
Yeah. Is that okay? Or is it one of those things where the diet like requires you to?
You're not supposed to, but I was like, look, I'm not. I have Thanksgiving this month. I am not going to Thanksgiving and just eating turkey. I'm just not doing it. It's not going to happen. I'm gonna have pie. Maybe what I'll do is I'll extend my diet. Maybe I'll extend it an extra week afterwards or something to make up for it.
Yeah.
Right. But it was just not gonna happen. My aunt makes pie once a year, so I'm not missing out on it.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
That's fair.
So, there is a concern actually that if I don't diet, if I do this and then I eat it, I could actually get sick.
Yeah.
Especially if I eat. So I'm going to try to avoid the dairy that night, but I will have my pie. Maybe I have a little bit of tiny bit of dairy, whipped cream or something on it. But I could hurt my stomach. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So hey, maybe I'll have such great results with it. You'll do it afterwards.
Doubtful. I'd have a hard time on a diet like that unless like. Yeah, I would just have a hard time. I would need to. If I
sort of done it before, I guess you eat a lot of rice.
I have the discipline to do it. It would take drastic measures. It would be I'd need.
So do you think it's harder to do this diet than your restrictive diets for?
No, it's not. It's just that there would have to be a need that overcomes my lack of motivation to do it. So like when I'm on the restrictive diet, there's a reason why. Sure. Right now, I don't have it's not necessary.
This diet, once you have the next time you need to cut weight.
When you're cutting weight, you don't want to. I feel like I've got that down to a point where I wouldn't want to test the waters with that. So I think I would stick with what I was doing.
What about if you had a full fight camp and you needed a nutrition program?
Sure. I don't know. Again, it's like I go with what works. I think.
Sure.
I don't know. I'd have to research it more to really make that decision, I think.
So we'd love for you guys to write in and let us know about your diet experiences. Have you guys done this, the Whole 30, Whole 30 for 30?
Is it 30 for 30?
I think so. Whole 30, something like that.
We gotta look this up.
See.
Leave it in the show notes.
Whole 30.
Oh, that's the name of it.
It's Whole 30, but it's for 30 days.
Got it. Okay.
That's what the 430 is.
Okay.
It's not like 30 for 30, the ESPN show, which is a great show.
Yeah.
The whole 30, the 30-day guide to total health and food freedom. That's what this one thing says. So it's the Whole 30, and then it's you're being whole for 30 days, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on it. And of course, there's books and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by them.
We're not. So it is a it's a program.
Of course, yeah.
All right, gotcha. So the Whole 30 program. So there's some marketing something behind it, but as there is with everything.
We'll see how this works out for you.
So we'll put a link in there, and we'll see how it works.
Cool.
So let us know if you guys have done this before. Let us know if you've tried to go paleo. Let us know if you've done Atkins or high carb, just any diet. We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear what your results were.
Cool.
And if you were able to stick with it. So, alrighty.
All right. I'm Ryan George.
I'm Justin Guild, aka Chef Sonic.
We are GymWits.